In this video, I'm going to show you how to knit the sailor's rib stitch. This is a really fun pattern that is only 4 rows long. It gives you a nice squishy and stretchy texture to your fabric, and although it's not traditionally reversible, as in the front doesn't look the same as the back, if I flip it over, you can see that the back still has a really great defined pattern in its own right. So although it's not officially reversible, I would class it as a reversible stitch just because the back looks as good as the front. The pattern multiple for sailor's rib stitch is 5 + 1. What that means is you are going to cast on a number of stitches that is a multiple of 5, and then when you've done that you are going to add one more stitch on, and what that does is give you symmetry on either side of your work. I'm just going to cast on a very small sample today of 21 stitches, but you can cast on as many or as few stitches as you like. In this pattern, your odd numbered rows will form the right side of your work, so that means as you work further into your project, every time you work an odd numbered row, the right side of your work will be facing you. You want to start your row by knitting the first stitch through the back loop. If you're not familiar with that stitch, it's really simple. It just means instead of knitting in the traditional way from left through to right at the front of your work, you are going to pop your needle into that stitch into the back loop. So you're going in from the front through to the back, and then you are going to pick up your yarn through the back leg of that stitch and then pull through as if to knit. After you've worked that one stitch, you are going to jump into a 5-stitch repeat until the end of your row, and that is as follows. You are going to purl 1 stitch, knit 2 stitches, purl 1 stitch, and then knit 1 stitch through the back loop again. So let's just cover that again. You're going to pop your needle in from right to left and through from front to back. Then you're going to pick up your yarn and pull through. So that's your 5-stitch repeat. Let's go over that once more. It's purl 1, knit 2, purl 1, and knit 1 through the back loop. And you're going to repeat that until the end of your row, and you should finish your row on a knit 1 through the back loop. Start row 2 by purling the first stitch. Then once again you are going to jump into a 5-stitch repeat, and this time that repeat is knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, and purl 1. One more time for you. You're going to knit 1, purl 2, knit 1, and purl 1. And you repeat that all the way to the end of your row, and you should end on a purl 1. Row 3 starts by knitting the first stitch through the back loop. And then your 5-stitch repeat for this row is purl 4, and knit 1 through the back loop. Once more, purl 4, and knit 1 through the back loop. And you're going to repeat that all the way along your row, and you should finish with the final stitch being a knit 1 through the back loop. Row 4 is the final row of our repeat, and you are going to start this row by purling 1 stitch. Then you're going to jump into your 5-stitch repeat for this row, and that is knit 4 and purl 1. Once more, knit 4 and purl 1. And you're going to repeat that all the way to the end of your row, and if you've counted your stitches correctly, you should end on a purl one. That's the first repeat of 4 rows done, and what you would now do is carry on and work those 4 rows as many times as you want to until your project is the size that you are ready for it to be. Before I go, let me just give you a couple of tips and tricks that I've learned when knitting this stitch. When it comes to casting off, the neatest row for you to cast off on is during a row 2, and you'll want to cast off in pattern. By casting off on row 2, what you get is this matching little bit of stockinette top and bottom of your work, so it gives you symmetry not just on your long edges but your top and bottom edges as well. Also, I would recommend adding a couple of selvage stitches onto each end. That just makes your work really nice and neat, and what I've done with my selvage here is I have got a 2-stitch selvage, and on the beginning of the row I knit them both, and then at the end of the row I knit one, and then I slip one purlwise with the yarn in front. I'll leave a few quick tips on my blog to cover this for you as well, so you've got something in writing. If you would like a written pattern, as always there is a free one on my blog for you to look at. That's all from me for today, but before I go, let me leave you with another tutorial of another stitch pattern that you might also like to have a go at.